They're not the prize, you're the prize. I don't believe in stuff like that. Your quality of life is the prize. The relationship they have to offer you is the prize. The way they treat you is the prize. The way they respect you, the way they communicate with you, the way they prioritize you, that's the prize, not them. Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Beyond Words with me, Nejwa Zabian. I've always believed in the power of words to fix what they didn't break and to break what they had no business or right in breaking. Today's episode is on a very highly emotionally charged topic, and I know you might think you're going to get a certain answer from me, and I think you'll be surprised about what I will be telling you. Before I get into today's topic, I wanted to take a moment to thank you. Thank you for welcoming Beyond Words in a way that I honestly never expected or imagined. I think I'm at a point in my life where I still sometimes wonder whether I deserve this kind of attention from you guys or that somebody just listens to what I have to say. So I just wanted to say I appreciate you, and I appreciate every second that you put into investing in this kind of work, and thank you for trusting me with your healing. The topic for today's episode comes highly requested, and it's how do you make someone realize that they're losing you? I know there's a part of you that's like aching for that person to realize just what they're doing and how they're hurting your relationship by their actions. And you're just like that Taylor Swift song where she says, "Stop, you're losing me." Like you're trying to give them so many warnings that you just can't do this anymore. And it's coming from a place of, I really want this to work. I really want things to be fixed and for things to be better, but you're getting to a point where you just can't do it anymore. And that's a really hard spot to be in, because you're trying so hard to hold on to something that is slipping away from you, and you further take on the responsibility of making it work. Like you try 1,000% as opposed to trying 100%, because you know that if you don't try, it's just all gonna fall apart. And maybe you just let it fall apart. Maybe you just let go of your need to fix something, especially if you're not the one who broke it. Because what happens when you try so hard to fix something that you didn't break is that you start breaking yourself to make it work. Because working on it isn't working. So you start working on yourself by chipping away at the parts of you that really matter to you. But that relationship matters to you more. So you're willing to sacrifice parts of yourself to make it work. You're willing to let go of the part of you that's too sensitive to make it work. You're willing to let go of the part of you that expects communication to make it work. You're willing to let go of the part of you that has certain needs to make it work. You're willing to let go of the parts of you that make you shine and make you happy and make you just explode into this world in a different way to make it work. And what ends up happening is that you break yourself to the ground to build something else outside of you that is not being built. It is built to destroy you even more, because it's built on the ashes of who you used to be. Any kind of relationship that requires you to completely disappear for it to be visible is not a relationship for you. A relationship that is actually for you is one that takes you in as a whole person. And instead of even taking the slightest bit away from you, it adds more to your life. I feel like we've been taught this really wrong idea that relationships are really hard, and if it's hard, that means you're working for something. But the truth is, the hard part about a relationship shouldn't be whether someone chooses you. The hard part about a relationship is getting through the hard parts of life together and figuring life out together. The hard part about a relationship should be working on building something together and going through that hardship. If one of you gets sick, or if someone that either of you really loves gets sick, the hard part is getting through that and supporting each other through that. The hard part shouldn't be getting the person to be ready to be in a relationship with you the right way, in a way that honors the two of you and respects the two of you and makes the two of you feel like your needs are being met and like you actually matter to each other. The hard part in a relationship isn't trying to make it work in the first place. Yes, people go through tough times together and they go through rough patches where maybe one person thinks, I don't even know if I want to be in this. And if you're on the other side of that, all I'm telling you to do is give them their time. Let them figure things out on their own. Don't try harder when somebody's not sure of you or making you feel like they're not sure of you. Don't try harder to make them more sure about you. You're not in an audition to be in their life. And I know we have this kind of language out there that's like, you know, you're the prize or whatever. I'm not going to say something to you like, they're not the prize, you're the prize. I don't believe in stuff like that. But they are not the prize. Your quality of life is the prize. The relationship they have to offer you is the prize. The way they treat you is the prize. The way they respect you, the way they communicate with you, the way they prioritize you, that's the prize, not them, or where their attention goes, or how they spend their time. Oh. Hi. All right, we have a little intermission here. Mila, say hello. This is my puppy, Mila. I have introduced her on Instagram before. The reason she's sitting on my lap right now is we just had a test fire alarm in the building and she got really scared. So she's going to be sitting on my lap for the rest of this episode. If you're listening to me, you can go watch her on YouTube because she's the cutest thing ever. And she's a very good listener. She loves to speak, but she's also a very good listener. The hardest part about a relationship should not be getting it to a point where you can actually call it a relationship. The hardest part about a relationship shouldn't be convincing the person that you're with that you deserve that they continue this relationship with you. Or, I mean, you can plead with someone and explain to them why it is that you are holding on to what the two of you had. And you can express to them the beauty that you see that is possible with the two of you. You can do that. I'm all for that kind of vulnerability, and I would never look at somebody who does that as, oh my God, you're so desperate. It is not desperate to express to someone how you feel about them. It is not desperate to express to someone that the thought of not having them in your life makes you very sad. It is not desperate to express to someone that you genuinely believe that the two of you could work through this hard time and could choose each other again and again and again. I don't believe that's desperate. I think that's courageous. And I think when that lands in the hands of the wrong people, it will make you feel like you are so dumb and so stupid and so, how could I have done that to myself? But that's not a reflection of who you are. It's a reflection of how they are willing to make you feel and how they are willing to receive the whole of who you are. I wrote something a little over a year ago, and I want to read it to you because I think it will help. Let them lose you. Let them do what they want to do. And for once, stop acting like you're okay with it. But don't do or say anything about it. Just go silent. You've already expressed yourself enough times. They know they're hurting you. and they're choosing to continue with their behavior. So let them choose what they want to choose. Let them continue to choose to do what they know is hurting you. That shows you who they are. I know it hurts. It hurts because you love them, you care about them, and it's hard for you to accept that someone who once cared so much about you is now treating you like you never meant a thing to them. Trust me, you did mean a lot to them, but they no longer have the willingness to show you. They got comfortable, and maybe life got in the way, but that's not on you. You have to let them lose you, not by punishing them, but by winning your life back. Let your goal be not to make someone realize that they're losing you. Let your goal be to live your own life in a way that is authentic to you. And if someone chooses to not be in that life, let them choose what they want to choose. What will you get out of making them realize they're losing you, or witnessing that they are realizing that they're losing you? You might get a reaction that's coming from a place of their ego, a place that says, oh no, she's slipping away from me, I better do something. Do you want someone in your life who only pays attention when they're losing you? Do you want someone in your life who only wants you because they don't want someone else to have you? Do you want someone in your life who only sees you when you take away everything that you are doing for them? That's somebody who's using you, by the way. Do you want someone in your life who only tries hard when you stop trying? That's exhausting. That conditions you to believe that the natural giving state that you are in is what's hurting you. But that's not the truth. You deserve to have someone in your life who honors and celebrates the natural state of who you are. Not someone who tells you, I know you have all that love, but like push it down because that's too much for me. I know you have all these things that you like to do that make our relationship better, but like do much less than that because that's too much for me. Because you know what? If you are a giver, and I know you're a giver because you're listening to this podcast, a giver of love, a giver of comfort, a giver of your time, a giver of your attention, a giver of your consideration, a giver of your empathy, of your compassion, of your honesty, of your loyalty. If you are a giver by nature and you're with someone who looks at everything that you have to give and says, as long as you continue to give me that, I'm not going to see you as valuable. I'm going to take you for granted because for me, that's like just way too much and I'm not willing to give it to you in return. You know what ends up happening when you learn to curb all of that, everything that's inside of you that you have to give? It kind of poisons you in a way. It's something that by your nature needs to be given to others. Like that's the way that you feel like you're alive and like you're completing your life's mission. And someone's telling you, but I'm not going to give you attention or effort unless I feel like all of that's going away. So you change your nature of being a giver and you become somebody who's choking on your own things that you really truly need to be giving to others. It's like potential that you are destroying inside of you. You're changing the truth of who you are at your core. Be with people who don't look at everything that you have to offer as, oh my God, that makes you so desperate. Like you need to be somebody who just sits back and lets everybody around you just give and give and give to you. You're doing way too much. Be around people who welcome the giving. Be around people who welcome the love and who don't feel like, it's just too much. There was this scene in Love Island. I know this is the second time I give a reference about that show where everyone was trying to make Amaya feel like she's just too much. All because the moment she was matched with someone, she started speaking to them in a loving way. She's moving too fast, and this is too much for me, and all because she was just being open and nice very quickly. That made me realize that so many people out there look at relationships as a game where it's like, I'm going to chase after you until I see that you're invested in me. And then once I see that you're invested in me, I have nothing to work for. It's because they're not working to get in a relationship with you because they see your value and because they're so excited about what you're going to build together. It's because they want what their ego wants, which is to be wanted by somebody else. And then once they're wanted by you, why do they need to work on anything to continue building this relationship with you? When you go in and you're fully invested in someone, they'll look at it as a red flag only if their intention isn't to actually build something, but to stay in that shallow place that says, I just want to get you. I just want to know that you like me. I just want to know that I have access to you. So when you are somebody who's naturally willing to give that love and that transparency and who's willing to be open and clear and not play games, the people who are completely opposite to that will make you feel like that's way too much. And they'll make you feel like that's way too cheesy, and relationships shouldn't be like that. That's how they'll try to make you feel, and you might have believed them. But I hope you stop believing them. You deserve to be around people who welcome your vulnerability with open arms, not people who look at you and say, that's not cool. Like, come on, you shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't express yourself that way. You shouldn't let somebody know that they hurt you. You shouldn't show them that you're in pain. You shouldn't give them the reaction that they want. Don't spend your time around people like that, because the indirect message they're giving you is that there's something about you and about the way that you express yourself that fundamentally is bringing you pain from the other person, instead of them saying to you, oh, they shouldn't have lied to you that way, or oh, they shouldn't have excluded you that way. I'm really sorry that they did that, or I truly understand why you're reacting that way. Instead of them saying all of that to you, they're putting all the focus on you and on the way that you're reacting. And directly, I'm not going to say indirectly, they're making you feel like the truth of who you are is faulty. So if you recognize some people like that in your life, I hope that you decide to start taking some steps away from them from this moment. If somebody needs to feel like you are pulling away for them to move towards you, not your person. If somebody needs to see you give someone else attention for them to just feel so jealous and want you back, not your person. Because they're operating from a place that only wants themselves to feel good. They're operating from a place where their ego wants to feel chosen by you again, where their ego wants to feel like they have your attention again, they have your love again, that they haven't lost access to you. That's all. And once they get it back, they're going to go back to being the person that they were before. And I'm not talking about the one time that somebody makes a mistake and they leave and they come back to you and they say, I realized that this was the only time in my life that I loved somebody the way that I loved you. And I know that it took time for me to realize that, and it took me being away from you to realize that, but I really want you in my life, and then everything changes. That's beautiful when that happens. I'm talking about the people that consistently push you to a point where you say, I'm done trying. And then the moment you put your energy somewhere else, they come circling back to you. Those aren't your people. And that's an exhausting cycle to be going through. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in another episode, but I once wrote in the past, I don't want you to chase me. I'm tired of running. Stop going for people who will only come to you as a chase to get you. Stop going for people who constantly need you to be walking away from them, for them to be like, please come back, I want you. Go for people who are walking towards you. Go for people who aren't afraid to go all in. Go for people who aren't afraid to go in the deep end. You know that song by Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper from A Star Is Born? Shallow. And I never really took the time when I first listened to the song to go into the depth of what it really means. But it's talking about how scary it is to go into the deep end. It's so easy to stay on the shallow end where it's just all fun and we don't really have much investment in each other so that it doesn't really hurt when it ends. Or it's really easy to stay in that shallow place where you don't express yourself, where you don't show the person the truth of who you are and your true colors and your craziness and your just the essence of who you are. But you stay there and that's all you get. That's the depth of what you have with that person. It's only when you're willing to go into the deep end where it's scary, where it's dark, where you're seeing all the good and the bad that they have, where you go through moments where you can't see the shore and you don't know where you're going to end up landing and it's scary, but your willingness to do that with someone, that's what's going to make the relationship even stronger. The fact that the two of you take the time to build an even bigger boat or ship that takes you to all the places that you want to go, but you've built it together. And it's not built on one person bringing the other person down and saying, I need to break you and I need to do this so that I could go to the surface. You know, relationships are built in that deep place where the two of you either decide to float together or to just let each person fend for themselves. The most beautiful relationships in the world are ones that are built on consideration of the other person, thinking of the other person with every step that you take and every plan that you have for the future, that you think of them and how they fit into that plan. If you are in the life of somebody who's kept a very, very tiny corner in their life for you, metaphorically, like imagine in their whole room that they've kept that closet in the corner for you. That's the only place you're allowed to be. It feels that way when you feel like your emotions aren't welcomed, your ideas aren't welcomed, your successes aren't welcomed, your hard times aren't welcomed. It's just when you are able to put on a happy face and pretend like nothing gets to you and pretend like you are bulletproof that they accept you. You deserve to be living in that entire space. You deserve someone who offers you that entire space consistently, repeatedly, day after day, not just for a period of time. And then once they're sick of you, they start chipping away at you so that you could become someone who fits into that closet in the corner that they have. And you're only allowed to come out when you have completely pretended like nothing is bothering you and nothing is hurting you and nothing means anything to you. Your whole life is just focused on them. And if you're listening to this and you resonate with this, I really want to say I'm so sorry that you're in that place. And I know that you don't deserve to be in that place. And I know that you don't deserve to be in that place. And if you feel stuck, I want to remind you that sometimes the biggest act of courage is not the biggest decision that you know you can make. Sometimes the biggest act of courage isn't ending a relationship. Sometimes it's taking one step away from that person. And tomorrow you take another step away from them. And the day after you take another step away from them until you get to a point where you feel safe enough taking that big leap. Do not let anybody brainwash you or gaslight you into thinking that your inability to end something that's really hurting you makes you weak. It makes you someone who is willing to invest. It makes you someone who is willing to wear your heart on your sleeve. It makes you someone who believed in the goodness in someone. It makes you someone who maybe came from a background where you believe that you should try really hard to fix something. And it's only when you realize how much it's breaking you that you're like, I don't even recognize who I am anymore. That's how much it broke me. The biggest act of courage in that position that you're in is to start building yourself up bit by bit until you get to a point where you feel like you have the strength to say, I'm willing to leave behind all the beliefs I have about relationships and about myself and about what courage means and about what trying so hard means. And I'm willing to just let go and release myself and release this person. Stop letting your focus be to try so hard to make that person realize that they're losing you or regret that they're losing you. Let them do what they want to do. Whether they realize who you are or what they've lost or what they walked away from, that's something for them to live with, not for you to live with. Whether they realize it or not has no bearing on who you are. I once wrote a poem that's so close to my heart. It's from my second book, The Nectar of Pain. And I'm going to read it to you. I will not wait for you to regret losing me. Does the sun wait for the earth to regret turning? Does the moon wait for the night to regret ending? The sun remains the sun, and the moon remains the moon. I will remain myself with or without your acknowledgement of my value. How powerful is that? I remember writing that poem and I remember how I felt, because when you're going through heartbreak, when you're going through feeling like someone is slipping away from you, like the way they used to see you is just not the way they see you anymore. You used to look at them and you would see love in their eyes and you would see how amazing they think you are, and all of a sudden you feel like you never meant anything to them, and it hurts so much. It feels like somebody put you up on a pedestal and then just like completely removed it and let you fall down flat on the ground. So broken, so shocked, you don't even know how to make sense of any of it, and you're just so hurt. And there's a part of you that says you're gonna regret losing me and you're gonna see what you lost, and that's your ego and that's your pain, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I hope that once you sit with all of those thoughts and all of those desires of wanting them to see you again the way they saw you before and wanting them to love you again the way they loved you before, that you realize that their decision to no longer love you in that way has no bearing on who you are. They can walk away from you and look back and say, oh, I regret losing that person. They offered me a kind of love that I never experienced before and that I can never experience again. And they can walk away from you and look back at you and say, I'm happy. I'm so happy. I'm done with that person. That has no bearing on who you are. A diamond remains a diamond, whether a person sees its value or not. A piece of 24 karat gold remains a piece of 24 karat gold, whether someone says, this is so beautiful, I want to wear it everywhere I go, or whether someone throws it in the drawer and says, I'm never going to look at this again. Your value doesn't change based on how much value they see that you have within you. And trust me, there is someone out there who will look at you exactly as you are, with everything you've gone through, with all of your flaws, with all of the things that this other person or these other people made you feel, those are the things that made you too much and too unworthy of love. There's a person who's going to look at all of that and say, I can't believe that someone fumbled you. I can't believe that I'm so lucky that no one else got you before me. I'm so lucky, and I can't believe that this is my luck in life. Trust me, that is out there for you. But as long as you are blinding yourself to the possibility that that's out there because you're so focused on making that one person regret losing you and trying to glow up or change yourself to become someone that they would look at or give attention to, the more you do that, the more you're running away from yourself, and the more you're looking at every younger version of you who felt like something is wrong about you and something makes you fundamentally unworthy of love, and you're telling them, I'm leaving you behind. I want nothing to do with you because you're the reason that I ended up being let go by someone or walked away. You're telling them, I'm leaving you all behind. I want nothing to do with you because you're the reason that someone just walked away from me. I'm going to change myself to the point where I'm completely unrecognizable, that I'm a brand new person, that person's going to look at me and say, oh, I didn't know that, she had that in her. Now she has my attention. You're so focused on getting that one person to see you differently that you don't realize that what you're doing is completely shattering the core of who you are and running away further and further from who you are. And your goal in life should be to come home to yourself. And how do you come home to yourself? When you think of all the ways, this is the best visualization that you can think of. Instead of coming home to yourself, you're thinking, how do I change the home that I welcome people into to be a home that they want to live in? What about the home you want to live in? What if you like white interiors, and what if you like dark floors and a funky looking ceiling and a room where you have a meditation space? And what if you like plants all over your place, but the person who you're trying so hard for them to want to be in your life likes carpeted floors and that are like really light in color? And remember, you like dark hardwood floors. And what if they don't believe that you should have plants inside? And what if they don't believe in meditation? And what if they don't like mirrors? You love mirrors. What if they don't like having pictures, but you love having pictures? But you want them to so badly want you and want to come back to you that you change the home that you have to be somewhere that they want to come into. What about you? Where do you end up living? On the streets of your own life. Don't end up there. Stop waiting for people to realize that they're losing you and start realizing that just by wanting that, you are losing yourself further and further. Let's start finding ourselves and let's start focusing on what we want that home within to look like and feel like, what we want that home within to inspire us to accomplish in our lives. Let's stop looking at a mirror that isn't really a mirror, but it's the reflection of what we think we want that person to see in us. And look directly at the mirror and see ourselves. Like my home has Mila, and I would never want to be in a home that doesn't have Mila in it. So think about the things in your life that are so important to you and the people in your life that are so important to you that you want to have in your home. Don't ever negotiate that with anyone. I hope this episode inspired you to change something in your life. I hope it inspired you to stop chasing after the remorse that someone could have for letting you go in the way that they did or in the way that they're currently doing. If you feel like there's any part of this episode that someone else needs to hear, please share it with them. If you don't mind taking a few seconds to leave a rating and a review just to let the world know that this is a podcast that they should listen to, I would really appreciate that. And I hope this episode inspired you in so many ways to find healing beyond words. And until next time, have a lovely day.